Today's lesson is from June 2014, and it's talking about constitutional concepts in early history. All right, so the first question up there that we're going to go over is question 6 and 7. Base your answers to questions 6 and 7 on the speaker statements below and your knowledge of social studies. So anytime we have speakers or a chart or a graph or political cartoons, we always read the question first. Which speaker is expressing an idea that was included in the Great Compromise during the drafting of the Constitution in 1787? So you should be thinking to yourself, Great Compromise. All right, I know that combined the New Jersey plan and the Virginia plan. I know that that's why we have bicameral legislature. So let's go up and read Speaker A, B, C, and D and see if there's anything that we can find like that. Speaker A, our national government should be strong. State governments should have only limited powers. B, a bicameral legislature would protect the power of both large states and small states. C, the expansion of the national government will lead to tyranny. Or D, the executive branch should have significant power. Go ahead and pause, get rid of your two, choose your answer, and come back. Welcome back. All right, hopefully you got rid of maybe A and C and you chose B, a bicameral legislature, so that means two houses. And we have the large states from the Virginia plan and the small states from the New Jersey plan. So that's why the answer is going to be 2 or B. All right, so we have the same speakers, but now during the debate over ratification of the Constitution, people who agreed with the speakers A and D became known as, all right, so A, our national government should be strong. State governments should have only limited powers. And then D, the executive branch should have significant powers. So we have loyalists, federalists, anti-federalists, and Democrat Republicans. All right, so you want to pause, get rid of 2, choose your answer, and come back. All right, so I'm guessing you got rid of 1 and 4 and you're stuck between 2 and 3. So if you think about the Federalists wanted a strong federal government, and they did not believe in the need for a Bill of Rights because they felt like the government would protect the people as it was written in the Constitution. And the Anti-Federalists disagreed with that, and that is why they refused to ratify the Constitution if we did not have an inclusion of Bill of Rights. The other thing that they wanted was the Federalists believed that the executive branch should have significant power, and basically in the setup that we have now. But the Anti-Federalists believed that it should be a committee that's governing instead of just one person as the executive branch. So that's why the right answer is number 2. All right, so number 8, which protection guaranteed by the First Amendment of the United States Constitution was influenced by the trial of John Peter Zenger in 1735? Freedom of the press, freedom of religion, right to assemble, right to petition. All right, so if you don't remember the trial of John Peter Zenger, we talked very briefly about it at the beginning of the year. He was a journalist, and he accused the royal governor, William Cosby, of being a corrupt governing official. And so he was charged with libel. And it means a little bit different thing now than it does then, because back then it just meant that anytime you were speaking out against what the government wanted you to be saying. And so that's why you're going to have freedom of the press as the answer. All right, so number 9, judicial review is best defined as. Now remember, judicial review is not in the Constitution. It is out of Marbury versus Madison, and it is part of the unwritten Constitution, which means we do it all the time. It's just not physically written in the Constitution. All right, so the right of a defendant to appeal the verdict of a jury, the ability of Congress to create new federal courts, the authority of the Senate to confirm Supreme Court justices, the power of the Supreme Court to determine the constitutionality of laws. So go ahead and pause, get rid of 2, choose your answer, and come back. Welcome back. The term judicial review is best defined as, maybe you got rid of 1 and 2 and you chose 4, to determine the constitutionality of the laws. And that's exactly what judicial review means. It means they're looking at the law, is it constitutional or is it unconstitutional? And then they can determine the outcome of the case based on that. And that came from Marbury versus Madison. According to the United States Constitution, the federal census is used to determine all right, so I read this question, I'm thinking to myself, census. I know that means to count the people, but I don't know too much more about that, but let's see if we can answer the question. All right, number 1, the size of the United States Supreme Court. 2, maximum number of cabinet members. 3, apportionment of members in the House of Representatives. 4, number of senators allotted to each state. All right, so there's some big vocabulary terms in here. Let's see if you can get the right answer, and then we'll go through them. So why don't you pause, get rid of 2, come back after you've answered. All right, welcome back. So the right answer is going to be 3, so maybe you got rid of 1 and 2, but let's talk about what apportionment and allotted means. Apportionment of members in the House of Representatives means how many House members are going to be in each state. So the census is something that we do every 10 years, and that counts the population of the United States. And when it counts the population of the United States, sometimes we have people moving to a state or from a state. And New York State, for example, people seem to be leaving, and so we keep losing representatives in the House. We at one point in time had 33, then 31, 29. So we keep losing them, and that's based on the fact that people keep moving out of our state. So apportionment just means how many representatives are going to be in the House from a certain state. So right now we have 27 representatives. And then the number of senators allotted to each state, that means given to each state. But if you think about it, we have 2 senators from each state, regardless of the population. So Montana, who has a very small population, but they have the same number of senators that we have, and that's the based on the New Jersey plan. Remember? All right. So that's it for the constitutional concepts for this video.